Khalid, it's good to see you. It's particularly good to see you safe and healthy. Welcome to the show.
Thank you so much, dear Mr. Kibbe. It is really an honor for me to today be in this interview with you.
And you are in Albania right now, is that correct?
Yes. At the moment, I'm in Albania.
And you and your family are safe?
Yes, of course. All of us are safe in here.
It's very good news. We had been talking, and you know our friend Brad Lips, the head of the Atlas Network. We happened to be in Guatemala with him when Kabul fell, and he was working 24/7 with a number of the Atlas Network folks to help if he could, and I'm just glad it all worked out.
Yeah, I know. I'm really grateful from Mr. Bradlips and all our other friends who are based in US. All of them, they helped us, as you said, 24 hours to do something for our safety and took us out from Kabul. And fortunately, they did it. So at the moment, we are safe in a safe place and working to establish new plans for our lives, new plans for our works, and also new plans for the country.
Yes. So I definitely want to get into your firsthand experience being trapped in Kabul when the Taliban took over, the fall of Kabul. Your organization was actually hosting a conference around that time, and I want you to tell that whole story. But let's give people some context. I've met you a couple times at Atlas Network events, but you run the classically liberal free market think tank in Afghanistan. Tell us about that, why you started it, and some of the work that you've done.
Thank you for these questions. I belongs to a family which all the family members we devoted our entire life for promoting of the ideas of peace, liberty, individual freedom, and other values which can save our nation and also the world. I was born on the night which Mujahideen succeeded in Afghanistan and they collapsed down the former Soviet Union in Afghanistan. And so it was a historical night in history of Afghanistan. And then my father, as he was also a freedom fighter, a writer, he named myself, he named on me Abul Fatah, which one of my other name is Abul Fatah, and it means freedom. So I born on a very historical night, and then my father named me something which is related too much to freedom, and the meaning of my name is freedom. And then he somehow educated me on the way to I should be a freedom fighter of my country. Then I became younger, so I'm one of the person in all freedom movements that I started my activities since I was very, very young. And I started the activities to promote the ideas of liberty, the ideas of freedom, market economy with a number of national and international organizations as a volunteers. And at the moment, before the collapse of Afghanistan on the hand of Taliban regime, I was working as the CEO of the Afghanistan Economic and Legal Studies Organization, which is the leading classical liberal think tank of Afghanistan. And we were working on different projects, on different initiatives to educate the ideas of liberty, the ideas of freedom for Afghan nations. To answer the other part of your questions about the last minutes or the last hours that I was in Kabul, and Kabul collapsed on the hand of Taliban. Indeed, we had a very big conference just before 2 days the Taliban returned to Kabul, and they took the control of Kabul too. We had a very big conference under the title of National Youth Conference, which we are organizing that conference every year. Unfortunately, on the first day of the conference, there was also a suicide attack which he was trying to enter to the conference. But fortunately, the security guards identified him and they killed him. But on the second...
a suicide bomber, right?
A suicide bomber, yeah, yes. Of course. On the first day of the conference.
Just walked into the hotel and tried to penetrate your conference. Yeah. Okay.
And the security guards noted that and they killed that. We were inside the hall of the conference. On the second day of the conference, so I'm telling this story to everyone should know that how much difficult it is to work for the ideas of liberty and freedom in a country such as Afghanistan. I'm always telling my friends that if you want to work for liberty in Afghanistan, it means that you are dealing with your lives. And at the moment I'm sharing this story with you and with our friends, they should completely understand that under which difficult circumstances we work for liberty. So on the second day, when I was delivering a speech for the audience, we had more than 400 participants from all 34 provinces of Afghanistan, and I was delivering a speech. One of my colleagues came and he said on my hair that, Mr. Ramizy, the situation outside of the conference is not too much normal, so please accelerate your speech as much as you can. We should close the conference very soon and let the people to go, because we are experiencing, we are thinking that maybe something will happen to the city. So it was one of the most bad things that I heard in my life. And so, then I decided.
Let me ask a follow-up question. That means essentially that the hotel was surrounded by Taliban? Is that what it means? Okay.
Not too much by Taliban, but by the security forces. They were escaping from those parts of the city.
Okay.
Because the location of the conference was near to a highway street, and all the security forces, they were trying to escape from western provinces of Afghanistan to Kabul. And then we finished the conference, everything finished, but it was successful. Everything was too much successful. So on the second day, which was Saturday, I went to the bank early morning I should get a few of my cash, which I needed. We were noting, we were checking the condition, and we notified somehow, we found somehow that maybe something worse will happen to Kabul too, and the Taliban will capture Kabul too. When I went to the bank, I saw that there was a very long queue, a lot of people, more than 2,000 or 3,000 people, they were waiting to get their cash from banks. And when I opened my Facebook, my mobile, I noted there was a news about one of the city, which is Jalalabad, and it is very close to Kabul. The Taliban, unfortunately, they captured, they took the control of that city too. Then I said to myself, so now, if they capture Jalalabad, then now they are totally on their way to Kabul. So I immediately leave everything and I reached to office. I organized an emergency meeting. We talk about different things, about different issues regarding the safety of our staffs, regarding the safety of the documents, which since years we are somehow connected with a number of international organizations, international partners. So a lot of issues. And also the first thing was also my safety, because my name was on the different, based on the information of the National Security Department of Afghanistan that they were sharing with me. My name was in different lists that they were trying to kill me. So we.
So you were high on the Taliban's kill list because of the advocacy work that you have done.
Yes, of course, because of the activities in a freedom movement, and then we totally all the staffs, a few of our board members, they were also on there. We planned to close the office. We destroyed a few of the important documents which we didn't want to, no one should read it or found it. And then I changed somehow my face with another clothes, with the scarves, and also with a new face, with new styles. And I escaped from office to another safe location. And everyone from the office, and also on those moments, we also tried our best to change the looking of the office to different, because in the office we had hundreds of pictures which all of them were showing that we are connected too much with Western organizations, with US organizations, or with our other friends, and totally we changed everything in the office. And when I was driving the car with myself, with my wife, and when I was driving, there was a huge, nothing was normal. All the people, they were trying to escape from the place that they are. All the streets were blocked. So it was a very bad day. But fortunately, after 3 hours, me and my wife, we reached to another safe place, because based on the advices of our friends, it was not good to, we went back to our own home. We have to change our locations. Then on there, even I should say this, that I was not in one location. I was changing my locations to different places, because my friends were calling me that, Khalid, you have to now change your location because these peoples are now searching this location of the city. So now go to that place. And
so the Taliban is at this point going door to door, potentially looking for you. They start at your home, and you're moving and moving and moving.
Yeah, not only me, they are searching for all the civil society activists, for all those who work in the National Security Department of Afghanistan, in Commando of Afghanistan, the Special Force of Afghanistan, and they are searching for all those people. So fortunately, I survived. As you mentioned before, a number of our friends from international organizations, from Atlas Network, from other organizations, they were trying their best to talk us out, and they did it. A number of plans failed, because on those days, as you maybe also know, getting to Kabul airport, it was totally difficult. It was not possible, because thousands of people, they were waiting outside of the Kabul airport to enter inside the airport and rescue somehow themselves. But fortunately, we did it, and they took us to Abu Dhabi, and from Abu Dhabi, they took us to Albania. And now we are in here, and thinking about lives, creating new plans, and hopefully to again start our activities with new strategy and with new plans.
So we've all watched from the outside and heard the horror stories of people trying unsuccessfully to get to the airport in all of this chaos, and you were stopped, and you're in a disguise at this point. You're trying to look more like the Taliban maybe, but you were stopped 3 or 4 times. Talk about, I mean, that I can't imagine how harrowing that must have been. Talk about the journey to the airport for just a second, so people appreciate how chaotic it was.
Yeah, it was really difficult. It was really difficult. So they said for us we should remove our friends from outside, and also the friends who were advising us, who were still inside the canteen. We should delete all the files from our mobile phones. So we totally erase everything that we had on our mobile phones. No number, nothing. They said that we should not carry our computer laptops, our files, our documents, nothing. And we did it. We leave everything in home, nothing. They said that we should we should not carry our travel documents like passports and other things, but because it was impossible to once we get the airport and then get to second country, and in the second country you must have a passport to travel. So, but we managed, and somehow, because Taliban, they are not searching women. I gave my passports, a few other documents which is really important for me, to my wife, and he hid those documents on his body, on her body, and we went to a hotel, and from that hotel they managed a bus for us, and the bus took us to airport. On the way to airport, so we totally changed our faces. I had a long beard, and also with traditional clothes, with scarves, I should look completely like them. On the way to the airport, there was a lot of checkpoints. So we went to the airport in the middle of the night, and they stopped us on the different checkpoints. They asked, "Who are you? Where are you going? Why you are going outside of the country?" But fortunately, in our case, we were somehow successful, and because they saw our faces that we were completely looking with themselves, and also the good thing about us that we know completely Pashto, which is also another language of the country, and Taliban, they are mostly Pashtun and they are speaking Pashto. So they somehow let us to go, and we entered inside to get to the airport. But to be honest, it was really a bad night in my life, because for us it was somehow possible, and our friends managed for us a car, and thanks to because the car also had gate passes of the airport, and we went to the airport successfully without any too much problems. But outside of the airports, when we were entering inside the airports on the gates, there was thousands of people who were sleeping, who were sitting in two sides of our cars, and they were watching to us, so that who are these people who are this much lucky to enter the airport by a car. And my tears was coming. It was terrible, because those people are also in danger, and they experienced, and they decided they should reach themselves to the airport, but it was impossible for them to get inside the airport. So we passed one night and one day, more than 24 hours in the airport, waiting for the flights. One flight was cancelled, and finally they managed another flight. And after a lot of searching, after a lot of issues, because nothing was normal in the airport, and we went to the military part of the airport, not to the civilian part of the airport. But finally we managed to take the plane and reach ourselves to a safe place.
So you had mentioned to Tom Palmer that some of your colleagues were actually captured by the Taliban and tortured, but eventually let go. What is the fate of your colleagues and your allies, to the extent that you can talk about it? I understand that their security comes first.
Yeah, at the moment, a number of our friends who are living in Kabul, who stuck in Kabul, and there is no possibilities at the moment. Although all of us, we are trying to provide them some opportunities they should get out of the country. But unfortunately, yes, Even in last few days, they tortured a lot of my friends. We managed another plan for a few of my colleagues and also for a number of other civil society activists. But as I mentioned before, that they stopped us also on the way to the airport. But the good things about us was that we were looking too much like them somehow, and also we are too much familiar with the Pashto language. But the thing for them was that they didn't too much. The Pashto language was not. They are not too much familiar with Pashto language, and they stopped them. They asked some questions, and then Taliban noted that these people are going escaping from the country, and these people should capture. They captured them. They tortured them for more than 4 nights with very bad conditions. But fortunately, a few of them, they escaped from their checkpoints, but a few of them stuck. Even a few of them, they were under torture since 3 or 4 days ago. But now all of them are free, but really dealing with a very bad condition of health. And also there are a number of other issues for my colleagues. One of my colleagues, he was going for small shopping to buy some things, but he forgot to remove one of his ID card from his pocket. The Taliban stopped him and searched him and found the ID card of the office from his pocket, and they tortured him also for 1 night. So it is really difficult for my colleagues, not only for my colleagues, but for all those who worked in last 20 years for the ideas of liberty, for all ideas of humanity. So now their lives are totally under threat. And in here, I'm not sleeping at the night. I'm working all the times to find different resources, different things to support our friends, to support our colleagues who were working with us, and now they are dealing with a very bad condition.
It's unimaginable, I think, for us to even appreciate what they're going through. I want to take a step back and understand your perspective a little bit on what happened over the last 20 years, and specifically what's different about the Taliban today than the Taliban from pre-2001. 96 to 2001, I believe, is the last time that they were in control, and you lived through all of this. Give us that perspective.
Yeah, the people were thinking that maybe if the Taliban come back to power, they will come with different ideas, with new ideas, with fresh ideas, and maybe they will somehow change their behavior with the people, and also they will respect somehow human rights, freedom of individuals, and also other important issues should be exist in a society. But unfortunately, I should mention that there is not too much difference between the new Taliban and between the old Taliban, who were in Afghanistan from 1996 until 2001. There are a number of evidence and reports, which I'm also somehow involved on writing of those reports, that Taliban, they don't want women to go to schools, the girls to go to schools. So now they completely prohibited girls from going to schools. So now girls doesn't have the rights to go to schools. For women, they said no woman can go to their works. So in the past also they did the same things with women, with girls. Regarding the freedoms, regarding the especially individual freedom, human rights, and these issues, they were in the past. They were also not respecting these issues, and at the moment also they are not respecting. If you don't wear the clothes like them, they will torture you. They will stop you. They will ask you questions. They will do something bad for you. And in the past, they were also doing the same thing with the people. Also, I should mention this, that in the past, Taliban was somehow they had one leader, but at the moment they are separated to different groups. So the new Taliban is not one big group of Talibans. They are separated among themselves. For example, one of their groups in north side of the country, north part of the country, they are saying that we will allow girls to go to schools. But another groups from east part of the country, they are saying that no, we will not allow girls to go to schools. So all these evidence somehow show, not somehow totally shows, that Taliban didn't change, and also they will not change. They will not change. I'm sure that they will not change. But if they not change in the future, I'm wondering a lot about the future of the country, about the future of the people, and the situation will become worse for the people.
So you had mentioned to Tom, then, and obviously you're hosting a conference as Kabul is falling. So you did not expect the Taliban to take Kabul, certainly not immediately, but what were you thinking before this actually happened? What was your expectation as to the stability of Afghanistan?
Yeah. When US announced that they will remove all their troops from Afghanistan, and as the US president said that now we supported the army of Afghanistan with the modern facilities, with the modern armored facilities. On that time, I'm also thinking, not me, all of us, we were thinking that it is impossible to, again, if US also leave Afghanistan, all the troops should remove from Afghanistan. Again, the country will not be on the hand of a terrorist group. But everything changed. It is very unbelievable. Even I'm thinking somehow with myself that maybe I'm sleeping. Maybe it is a kind of dream that I see that a terrorist group come again in power, and there is nothing for our lives to go normal. So we were not thinking to the same situation to happen for our people, for our country. But a number of issues are really important to consider and also to rise in here. You know, Afghanistan composed by different ethnic groups, like Pashtuns, like Hazaras, like Tajiks, different tribes, different races, different groups. And unfortunately, in Afghanistan, in the last 20 years, and also before that, somehow, we didn't succeed to accept that we are one nation, and the works were not somehow useful for nation building, from the politician sides, from the civil society sides, from the academicians, from all other parties and everyone. So those who were Pashtuns were totally in favor of Pashtuns, and those who were Tajiks were totally in favor of Pashtuns. And all ethnic groups they are working for the interests of themselves. For example, the president was Pashtun, and he belongs to Pashtun tribes. And Talibans are also totally Pashtuns. Just a few % of them belongs to other tribes, but the majority of them are Pashtuns. 99% of Taliban are Pashtuns. And the president was somehow thinking that if the peace process became successful by the person who was running the peace process, which his name is Dr. Abdullah, and he was the director of the Peace Negotiations Council. Maybe, and Dr. Abdullah belongs to Tajik tribes, and the president was thinking with his team, because he and his team was totally corrupted, and they were just thinking for themselves and for their interests, nothing else. So if the peace process success, then the Tajik tribes will be a success for the Tajik tribes. It will be a success of Dr. Abdullah. So let's somehow try to note the peace process should be successful, and let's change the scenario. And there are a number of cases, because we were inside the country, we know that very much, but it is somehow difficult for me to express that in here with you. In a number of cases, the president by himself supported Taliban to they should come again in the power. And that is why at the moment we are experiencing this condition. He somehow destroyed the morality of Afghan National Army. There was no morality in Afghan National Army to fight against their enemies. His government was totally corrupted. Even there are a lot of issues, reports, a lot of evidence that shows that even on the day that he escaped from Afghanistan, he escaped with millions of dollars to outside of the country. And also there was a strong lack of proper management. Unfortunately, he failed in his management. There was nothing. So the ethnic conflicts was one of the reasons that the government collapsed. The lack of management was another reason, and also lack of morality in Afghan army was another reason, and corruption was another biggest reason which collapsed all the country.
Let's dig into corruption a little bit, because a lot of classical liberals in the United States, as you know, would be highly critical of the 20-year American presence in Afghanistan. We call it nation building, but what we're really talking about is central planning, where outsiders come in with a plan for how to restructure the economy, how to build the military, how to rebuild civil institutions. And I've heard time and time again from Americans who were on the ground in Afghanistan that we essentially had no idea what we were doing, but we showed that, what Frederick Hayek would call a fatal conceit, thinking that we knew better. So I guess my question is, $2 trillion and 20 years later, did that whole American effort hurt more than it helped?
Yeah, of course. Unfortunately, I'm saying this always to my friends and also in a number of interviews, that if you give more money to a nation, to a people, it will somehow corrupt everything. It will somehow destroy a lot of things. So I think one of the biggest problem, one of the biggest mistake was that the world sent a lot of a huge money to Afghan people, to Afghan government, and the government was corrupted. But again, they were trying to send money to the government. Maybe you can buy money. Not maybe. I'm sure that everyone knows that you can buy money a very good car, a very good house, and other things that you want to have on your lives. But you can't establish by money democracy to, for example, democracy to other nations. For example, plan for another nation to run their government, to run their strategies. I think that was one of the biggest mistakes, that they sent billions, trillions of dollars to Afghanistan, but there was no plan, there was no honestly from Afghan side, and more money destroyed everything.
So that raises a very practical question. Foreign aid and showering money on Afghanistan created massive corruption in your telling of the story, and I agree with you. What do we do? What do international aid groups do? What do people do that want to help people in Afghanistan right now? Is it should we send them aid? Is that a good thing or a bad thing?
At the moment, the people really needs help, the ordinary people, the civilians. But we should totally prevent from sending aids or supports to the government, because it is, I think, the only thing that now the international community can use it as a tool to make the Taliban, they should establish an inclusive government based on international documents, based on international laws, to respect women's rights, to respect minority rights, and also to establish inclusive rights, is to use this tool. If they support them, I'm sure that they will again continue the same things that they are doing at the moment, and also the same thing that they did in the past. But the ordinary people, yes, of course, they need the support of international community, the support of international organizations, because at the moment, the economic condition of everyone in the country is worse. So all the NGOs, they close their offices, they stop their activities, all the companies, they stop their activities. There is lack of investment, there is lack of a lot of people, they become jobless. So what I suggest to the international community, to the world, is to use this as a tool to make Taliban, they should establish their government based on the ideas or the things that I already said, not to send them money.
Yeah. You described the initial run on the banking system, but it looks to me like the currency has collapsed and the economy has ground to a halt, and that will be a humanitarian disaster. One of the strategies you described in a previous conversation that I listened to was for people that can't get out any longer through the Kabul airport, like air transport is virtually impossible now. What about escaping across the border into other countries? Is that still an option for people?
Yes, of course, it should be an option, because if they continue their lives in Afghanistan under the government of these terrorist group, I'm sure that they will face a number of challenges and a number of problems on their own lives. It is much better they live at the moment the country. But fortunately, the good things now, somehow some issues are improving by the interfering of a few countries like Qatar, like Turkish people, Turkey government. They are somehow well connected with the new regime, with the head of new regime in Afghanistan, and they reopened the operations of Kabul International Airport, and now Pakistan, the Pakistan International Airlines (PIA), they are operating flights from Kabul to Islamabad. That is one of the best options at the moment, because on the way to go to by roads to get borders of Torkham with Pakistan, and also to get other borders with Uzbekistan, with other countries. The roads at the moment are not too much safe, especially for those who are well-known faces in the country and everyone knows, because as you maybe heard a lot of news that the Daesh group, the ISIS, they are too much active at the moment in Afghanistan. And that is a very big concern for everyone, that now the Taliban also doesn't have too much power to fight against them at the moment. And now they started their activities. Every day they are killing Taliban, they are killing civilians. So somehow road option at the moment, I don't recommend it. But the good things is that the airport is somehow operating and the people can go and escape from the country by flights.
I want to talk about the future and particularly the things that you are wanting to focus on, but I want to frame it. I've heard you say this many times that you feel that the terrorists have misappropriated, abused, corrupted Islam in the name of their cause. Tell us about your perspective on Islam and where your values come from.
Yeah, this is really a very good questions. And thank you for asking of these questions. Islam with itself is a religion of tolerance, is a religion of love, is a religion of harmony, is a religion of freedom, is a religion of to accept the ideas of others, to give the opportunity to others in real Islam. But unfortunately, what the extremist groups are doing is that they are misinterpreting Islam by themselves for their own interest, because they see their interest by misinterpreting of Islam to they should cover all their bad things under a religion. But the real Islam is something different. That is why I'm always saying to my friends, to my colleagues, and also to my international friends, that we have to continue our works and we have to work as we did in the past. And it was one of our biggest success also in the past until now, that we not somehow totally tried our best to launch our programs, organize our programs on different issues, on different things about the liberal ideas based or in the compatibility with Islam ideas. So all these issues that you are talking about, those issues based on a classical liberal ideas or exist in Islam. And we published, we translated a number of books with exact resources from Islam, which still exist in our website and also the hard copies in the country. But unfortunately, they are misinterpreting. But at the moment, our work is too much important. We should cover these issues, we should say, we should share these compatibility of these issues with Islam, and to not let them that again by misinterpreting Islam, they should do what they want in a country and also for a nation.
So I assume that is your mission and your future for your organization, and I know you're involved with a number of organizations. What does the future look like? Is there a coalition of like-minded leaders and organizations like you and yours that want to spread that mission of peace and tolerance and cooperation?
Yes, of course. At the moment, we are creating a very specific, a very proper action plan for the future of our activities. And we don't want to stop our activities. If we stop our activities, it means that we are providing opportunities or paving the way for extremist groups so they should become more stronger in different ways. but we have to continue, but we have to work, and as a resistance, we should be alive in the country and to share the truths with the people. At the moment, we are talking with a number of well-known academics of Afghanistan who are based in the country and also who are outside of the country. And the ideas that we will start our activities very soon is that to just more specific, we should only focus on the sharing of the compatibility of Islam with free society values. We already translated and published a number of books, and now we are also trying to publish a new books for this reason, to everyone should know. And also we will also launch a number of video programs, radio programs, and also webinars, academic online seminars to all Afghan people should know about the truths and about the ideas which exist in Islam, but they unfortunately misinterpreted it.
So give folks watching this and wanting to learn more about those activities, give us a place to go, a website, a Facebook page. Where are you best distributing your work?
Well, we shut down all our websites and everything, but fortunately it is about 1 week that we restart our websites and also our all social media pages, because a number of our friends who are now safe in safe places, all the people can read about our news and activities by going to www.aelso.org, and also you can find our social media pages from there.
Okay, I really appreciate you telling the story, Khalid, and if there's any way we can help, let us know, because I think this matters to all of us, and I'm wishing you and your family and your colleagues the very best.
Thank you so much, dear Mr. Matt. I'm so grateful for giving me this opportunity. It was really an honor for me. Thanks for you, and thanks for the free people. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Okay, that was excellent.
I'm wondering about my English, but I hope I covered. My English is not perfect, but just I'm dealing with that.
That was amazing. Where can I get more content just like that? It's a great question. You're clearly a discerning consumer of the best content. Make sure to like the video, subscribe, and click the bell. And if you're consuming podcasts, go to Apple, Stitcher, anywhere you get them. I'm in. Kibbe on Liberty, honest conversations with interesting people.